Oh my gosh, it was so scary to open up the first OsteoStrong location. If you ever seen something so clearly, you knew it was going to work, you knew it was going to work, and then it didn't. And that's what we experienced. We opened up the first OsteoStrong because, here I knew we were taking this technology and putting it in a business and we made it look cool. But then in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, is anybody really going to show up? Is anybody going to really understand this? We didn't even really know how to explain it to people. And that's kind of what happened in the beginning. It was hard to get people to understand and appreciate and accept what it is that we did. In fact, I remember there was this one guy, his name was Ed. He came in, and Ed was in his 70s, and he competed in the Senior Olympics. And he was a javelin thrower. I don't know if they threw softballs or whatever, but he did that number, and he also ran the 40 meters. Was his deal. And he had skipped one year because his hip was hurting him and his shoulder was hurting him. And then he came into OsteoStrong. He was doing OsteoStrong for about a month and a half, and his shoulder quit hurting him and his hip quit hurting him. And so he decided he was going to compete in the Senior Olympics that year. He ended up setting the record for the javelin throw or softball throw, whatever it was that he was throwing, and he set the record in the 40-yard dash. And he came in all excited, and he says, Kyle, he goes, I set the record this year. It was awesome, and he was going on and bragging. I'm like, oh my gosh, will you give me a testimonial? Because that's great. I'm glad OsteoStrong was going to help you. And even after that, his response was like, well, I'm not really sure it was OsteoStrong. And I'm thinking, Ed, you're 76 years old. What gets better on its own? Nothing. Like, this had to be the thing. And he wasn't even convinced. But what was cool is as time progressed and these stories started stacking up, people were able to pick up their grandkids where they weren't before, or the stories of, my knees used to hurt so bad when I rolled over in bed at night, they would wake me up, and now they don't hurt anymore. And this kind of thing, and the shoulders started going back on people, posture started improving. And while it was so hard in the beginning, and it created a lot of uncertainty in my mind is, am I doing the right thing? Are people going to get this? The testimonials and the stories just started stacking up and up and up, and it really became overwhelming. It got to the point where if somebody came into the facility and they weren't sure if they'd join, all I had to do was ask a member who'd been there for a month, hey, tell them your story. You've only been here for a month. What have you noticed? And they would tell the story for me and help us bring in more people. Now we've got, at the filming of this, about 160 locations around the world. We're in 8 countries, and there's just tens of thousands of people who have stories like this, stories of reversing osteoporosis and joint and back pain, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's always easy to look back and you're sitting here in this moment of success going, wow, I did the right thing. But I remember in the beginning how scary it really was when we started OsteoStrong.